This is a question that kind of gets right at the crux of science and social science communication. Um, so what does it mean to be an animal? What does it mean to be human? Isn't that what we all want to know? So in the scientific sense, what you're getting at is the idea of Linnaean classification. Um, and this is how we classify all living things. So what we do is we put things in increasingly smaller bins based on traits that they share with other organisms. So first, we're able to say that something is a eukaryote, which means that it has a nucleus. Then we're able to say that it's an animal as opposed to a plant or a fungus, which describes a number of characteristics, including, say, how it. Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today, but that tells us about, it probably breathes oxygen and it probably has, a cell membrane rather than a cell wall, and it's going to be multicellular. So it tells us all these other things about how it works. And then we're able to put it into core data, which means that it has a backbone. So we're getting more and more specific about what it is as we go into each of these more specific bins. So you're right that humans are classified under the kingdom Animalia. And in fact, humans are classified all the way down here into the species sapiens. But we share things like the order primates. There are lots of other primates. Those are, when you hear people say that we are cousins of the other great apes, that's what they're talking about, is that we share that same level of classification. We share our most recent common ancestor with the other great apes. But does that mean that we're exactly the same as all other animals? Well, to answer that question, we have to look at what are we actually saying we have in common. So if we know that we're a member of Animalia, which is at the kingdom level, all that tells us that we have in common with other animals is that we have the same things that allow us to be a member of Animalia. So remember that these bins are broader at the top and narrower at the bottom. So whatever allows you to be a member of Animalia. So that means you're an animal rather than a plant. Those are the things that we have in common with other animals. So you have as much in common, you could think of this as having more in common with a goldfish than with a sunflower, right? So you and a goldfish both take in oxygen, whereas a sunflower, kind of breathes out, it respires oxygen. And you and a goldfish both have cell membranes instead of cell walls. The sunflower has cell walls. So at this very high level, you have more in common with a goldfish than a sunflower. And there are certain characteristics that you have in common with all animals. But that doesn't mean that you have everything in common with all other animals. So then are there other animals that are the exact same as humans? To do that, you're asking about getting increasingly specific, which is what happens as we, narrow down our scope. So the species that we are a part of is sapiens, and humans are Homo sapiens, and then nothing else is a part of Homo sapiens. That describes just humans. Then we can go broader to the genus. There can be multiple species in one genus. And there are lots of sub-levels to these if you actually get into the nitty-gritty of it, but this is good enough for us. There used to be lots of other, and in evolutionary history, there have been lots of other kinds of members of the genus Homo. So if you've heard of Neanderthals, that's a great example. However, Homo sapiens ended up outcompeting all of the other members of the genus Homo, and we are the only ones that are left. So there used to be others, but now it's just us. And so you're exactly right that that's where species come into play. And so when we talk about like colloquial language, so when we talk about different ways that we use words like animal in everyday conversation versus when referring to a pet, you're exactly right that that's when you just kind of have to read the room and see what context you're talking about. So if you're in a very scientific context and you're, on your exam, are you asked whether a human is technically an animal? The answer would be yes, because we are a member of the kingdom Animalia. But if you're, talking to your friends and you call your brother an animal, although you might technically be correct, that might generally be considered impolite and not how we would generally categorize humans. I hope this helps.